Hey guys, this is Eileen from Jane Nicole Designs. Welcome to this morning's fun. I'm going to be doing some Easter stuff today, so I'm going to let a few get online and kind of get my comments. Today I'm going to try and put on my computer so I can at least get a good eye view on my comments today, because it's been one of those where I just kind of get down in my project and I want to make sure that we I'll do some conversing as well. So yeah, I'll give a couple seconds. How are you guys doing? Let me know if this is your first time. Go ahead and put hashtag newbie. If you're on live right now, send me some hearts that you're on and you're able to see what's going on my live today. And then if the little button up there, it does not say live, that means it's the replay, and I've already been doing this live, but you can put hashtag replay on it. And today is one of those days where I thought I was done with Easter, and I'm not done with Easter. I have a really fun idea. I have lots of little techniques to show you today. No painting, but I'm gonna put something on my front door, or I may put it up in my Etsy shop and do you know, express shipping so you can get it by Easter. So we are gonna be doing a little bit of Easter fun today. So hold on just a second here. I'm gonna make sure that I can look online for myself. So there we go, I'm on, and I think I'll be able to, there's a little bit of lag, yep. So I'll be looking at your comments and letting you know what's going on. So today we are going to be using something that I don't do a lot of or use, and I found them in a couple craft stores, and I was like, you know what, we are going to do this. And that is, I'm going to show it right here. This is one of the rings that you would use for cross stitch. And so I'm going to turn this, I got this at the Real Life Ministries thrift store, and I'm going to turn this into our door hanger for the front door. You could put it inside. I'm going to use things that you could use for outside, but you know, not necessarily doing direct like rain or things like that. You know, the other day we had a bunch of wind, and so I took my, good morning Joy, it's good to see ya. I took my my front door you know, wreath inside. So this is one of those projects where you can use just about whatever size you want, what fabrics you want to use. And so I just thought, you know what, I bought one of these. I've seen some of this out on the internet of, okay, let's see where we're going. And this is what we're going to use today. So it's wooden. It just has a little screw right here that you can go back and forth, tighten it as much as you want or as little as possible. So this is going to be our base. And remember, when we do projects, this is my thing. I always start from the foundation up and then layer on up. So that's what we're going to do today. Some of the products I'm going to be using, I got these at our thrift store as well. I have some friends that I work with there, and they were like, Eileen, go look in the back. There is something that I think you're gonna like. And sure enough, it was this giant bouquet of all these, and they're you know, it's almost like rubber tulips and stuff like that. So we're gonna be using these, and then fabric, and this is just a little, almost like muslin kind of. It does have some you know, just a little bit of fraying on the ends. And I got this in a scrap big huge bag of scraps. And so today I didn't go out and purchase, other than the ring and the flowers. I had everything else on hand that I just kind of been saving from either the season before, or it's something that I just had in my junk pile. So we're gonna do that first. So from the foundation up means that I just want to make sure that when I do a project, that my foundation, and this is going to be mine, is set, and it is it's ready to go. So today this is a sheet. Again, I went to the thrift store and I found a huge bag of fabric, and this is just, I would say maybe a twin, or I don't know, maybe a yeah, probably about a twin size sheet. And it was already kind of cut up a little bit. The person had done some sewing on it, and I want to say it was like the base of a quilt. So I just wanted to not have to cut too much, do what I was doing kind of thing. So I am going to use that as my base. And I just have it's folded in half. So I want not to be able to see through it. So, and this is just, I'm just gonna put it right on that ring. And I want a little bit on the top to come over because I want to be able to cut around it. And I'm going to just put it on there so that I can put the ring on it. Remember, it's double-sided. I'm just going to put the ring right up on top. Make sure that because this fabric has lines that are going up and down, that it's straight up and down. And I'm not going to actually put the middle line right down the middle. I'm going to actually offset that. There we go. So we're just going to push it down. Hold on here, there we go. We got to adjust the tension on it. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull it a little bit taut. Make sure that it's okay, wrinkle-wise. I did put this in my heat press, my 16 by 24 heat press, so that it took a lot of the wrinkles out of it. So you might want to iron your project fabric beforehand. So, and then I'm just gonna flip it over and then pull so that it's as tight as I would like it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just take that little screw here and just crank it down because I want this to be really tight. Okay. So that is my base. Now I'm gonna make it a little bit fun. And these are pinking shears, and I learned this yesterday. So and I had a Bible study, and the last day I always do like a craft and like a potluck. And so we were doing a craft. I have to show you the craft. It's so fun. One of our gals, Terry, she thought up the craft. This is just, I did a spaghetti jar, and you've seen me, I did that in February. I painted one of these. And then she put a little bunny for the peekaboo part. This is just a little pom-pom, little fabric pom-pom, and we glued it on with Gorilla Glue. I wanted to show you that. This is awesome glue. It was super cool. And then we just took a little piece of fabric and a little piece of jute, and I'm gonna fill this for Easter. Isn't that super cute? I love the idea. So I did, after I got home, I came and I put, this is Waverly, and it's clear wax, and this helps the paint from scratching and you know, just kind of like wasting away. You can, if you want to, just make it a little bit distressed. You could take some either sandpaper, a sanding block, and you could rough up where all the little you know, imperfections, or if, you know, here's like some of the lettering and things like that. You could able to do that and scuff it up and make it nice. But I'm actually going to put candy in it for Easter. And then next I will, I don't know, I might put some like sentiments in there for me when, you know, I'm not having the greatest day and I want something that'll give me a pick-me-up, or maybe some scripture or something like that. But these are super fun. And all I did, this is spaghetti, just a regular spaghetti. So that's fun to have those things. So while we were crafting, these are pinking shears, and one of my gals, she was like, she's super crafting, but she's a very, very good sewer. And so she's like, I brought these because I know we were going to be using fabric. And she said the first thing about pinking shears, if you cut straight on, it allows the fabric to fray, so it will get a little bit fuzzy. If you cut at an angle, it doesn't allow for the fabric to get fuzzy. So that is my tip for today. Let me know if you knew that, or it's one thing that you've heard before, but I'm gonna try just going straight on because I want to be able to have a little bit of fuzzy around the outside. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm just gonna take as my guide the edge of the loop. And the hoop is just, it's about 1/4 of an inch. So I just want to go around and just kind of leave it. If you wanted to, you could go right up to the edge here. But I'm just going to go around and I'm going to leave a little bit of the edge here. And I'm going straight on, so we'll see how this works. And sorry my hand's in the way, but I'm not really sure any other way to do this. There we go. We'll go off to the side a little bit. And if you notice, I'm a left-hander, and pinking shears are for your right hand. So when I was in school, all they had for a long time was not lefty scissors, but righty scissors. So I had to learn to cut with my right hand because the lefties weren't around until I think I was almost like 2nd or 3rd grade. So by that time I'd already had to cut a million craft projects and things like that. And so I just learned to cut with my right. And so now I prefer it, actually. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna rub it back and forth, and yep, here it goes. All it is just taking that little edge and making it a little fluffy. And I'm gonna go back and forth. I could take a little sanding block or something like that and rough it up if I wanted to, but I just want that little, like almost like that little ruffle around the end here. So, and along with that, I'm gonna just pull it up. And there we go. This is going to be our base. And so if you want to, you could actually do it here this way, or I'm gonna do it here because I'm gonna put something in the middle here. Good morning, Renee. It's good that you're watching. So this is what I'm gonna do. This is my base here. Okay, so I'm gonna set that off to the side. We'll take our scrap as well, move that off to the side. And now this is what we're gonna put inside. And I do need to use my handy dandy specs to be able to see it. I call it my old ladies, but I really don't feel like that old. So what we're gonna do is I went, I think a few months ago, and this is a little bunny. And I like it just the way it is, but for this project, I wanted it to be a little bit kind of rusticy, you know, be able to match my project. So, and the other thing is I'm not gonna hang it, so I wanted to figure out a good way how to get rid of having those holes at the top and not using it that way. So I'm just gonna take those off. And this is my fabric that I showed you in the first there. It's like a little muslin kind of thing. And there's a little bit of fleck that you can see in there. And I love this fabric. It's just kind of forgiving in the way that I'm gonna be using this. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna take the front of this because it actually has a little bit of a, like almost like a texture to it. And I wanna use and take advantage of that texture. And I'm gonna go ahead, and this is Mod Podge. And this one is matte. I'm not really worried about what it's gonna be looking like because I'm actually just gonna put it on my project and put the muslin on it. So it doesn't matter what kind. I have, oh goodness, this one is a luster, it's shiny. This one here, I also have one, here it is, that you can put on if you want it to go in the dishwasher. So there's many ways that you can use this product, and I have a little bit of each. So every once in a while when I start projects, I'm like, okay, what would be the best? You can go on Mod Podge, their website, and you can also get tutorials of what's the best use for each one of them. And this one here, because of the texture, I'm gonna put a good amount on there. I'm gonna be putting that fabric on there, and I wanna make sure that it stays. I don't want any part of that fabric to lift up. So I'm going to put a pretty generous coat on it. It's okay if you get it around the edges, not too much. You don't want it dripping. That would be, yeah, that would not be very good. But just making sure that the whole project is covered with the Mod Podge. There we go. All right, let me know how, let's say it's a beautiful, oh good, Joe, I was just gonna say that. What's going on in your world? Is it one of those days? I mean, last week I had the sun on my face. Today, not as much. But yesterday we did have these, you know the Dippin' Dots that you eat? They're like the ice cream that had their in little beads. That's what I had coming down yesterday. And it was a brief moment, but I had little ice balls that looked like Dippin' Dots falling from the sky yesterday. So I took a little video of it and sent it to my family. I'm like, look, hello, March. Can't believe this. So, yep, I was hoping you guys would have a beautiful day in Bellingham. There we go. Okay, so here is my generous coat, and I just want to make sure I don't get any on me. I also, this is my favorite, go ahead, baby wipes are the best. I don't have babies anymore, but we still buy them at Costco by the case. Make sure that you get all of your Mod Podge off your hands. Okay, and so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put something right here where the bunny is. So I'm going to just lay right up to that, his neck there. I'm just gonna lay the muslin on there. And then I'm gonna take from the top and I'm just gonna match it up as best I can. That's what I love about this fabric. It is really, really forgiving. And I move it over a little bit. Because I have the Mod Podge on there in a generous amount, I can actually mold it, make sure that it's in the place that I would like it to be. And I just want to make sure, just for a few seconds here, that it stays on, and there we go. How easy is that? I love this. This is a project I was like, you know what? Beginners and seasoned. Beginners, this is not one of those where it's too daunting of a task to be able to do this project. And that's what I love about it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And I'm going to, it's wet, but not too gooey or anything like that. But I am just going to take my regular scissors, because this one here, I am going to just cut around the outside. It might take me a quick minute here, but I am just going to make sure you have good scissors. But I'm just going to do a little line around. Let me start it off and I'll show you. I'm just going to do right by the edge. And then I'll show you what what I'll do with it. And I do go back and forth with how I'm cutting it, depending on the curvature of what you're going to be using. Because if you would go like this right here, you're not going to be able to get in that little crease there. So I'm going to come back the opposite way. Then I can get in those little places. Just a little bit easier. There we go. So I always ask you each week, are you going to be celebrating the holiday? Let's see, it's St. Patrick's Day coming up in a couple days. Are you going to go ahead and how many of you have decorated for the season? I did not this year. I have little green hats and things like that. And I haven't even gotten the corned beef yet. So I thought about getting it, and then I went to the grocery store and forgot. It was not on my list. I have a little app that gives me a list maker, and I forgot to put it on there. So there we go. I'm going to pull this up. This is much easier. There we go. And then go ahead. I'll show you in just a second here. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just take the side here and I'm gonna rub it back and forth. You could use a sandpaper block if you want, but see how it makes it frayed and it just stays right by the edge. So I'm gonna turn around. This is what it's gonna look like. And I love just that little distressed kind of shabby look. And that's what we're gonna do around the whole thing here. But I wanna make sure that I get the image cut out first, and then I'll, you know me, I like to hurry up and do things. So I get ahead of myself. There we go. And this is a really good project if you want to do springtime. You could do an egg for Easter. I got this image at the little plaque here at the Dollar Tree, and they always have little, you know, chicks or different things that you can use. So if you wanted to, you could make this so that you could interchange each of these little pieces of you know, bunnies, or you could do a flower in the middle. I think that would be really cool. And then you wouldn't have to change out everything. So, you know, each project, I know about a lot of times I just don't have that extra storage. And so, let's see, let's do it this way. And so I end up, it's like, oh, how can I change this? I have the gnome that I did at my front door inside my hallway, and I have it for 4 different seasons because it's a lot of storage if you keep, you know, every season. But kudos to you who, if you have all the room in the world to be able to do that, but I don't. The storage in me is not as plentiful as I would love. I would love to have a huge room of every holiday, you know, things hung up on the wall or something that I could take down. But then, you know, you think about it in the scheme of what's going on, there's so many things that change that, you know, you're like, oh, well, maybe I don't want to keep that. You know, so I do donate a lot of my stuff after the season so that when the next season comes along, I can, you know, have a new idea or trend that's going on. So right now I'm just going ahead and taking some of these little edges here. And then, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead. I know it's kind of weird how it looks, but I'm just going to go ahead and just rough them up and see how that just makes a little frayed on the end. No special tool needed. I love that. Okay, make sure your Mod Podge is down. And I can go back and do this, you know, in as long or as much as you want for this project. I could take an hour to do this, but we're not going to do that. It's going to take too long. Oh, you hear the beep. That's my another tool I'm going to be using today. Okay. So I'm just going ahead, making sure that the Mod Podge is down. I have a little piece here I want to trim off. There we go. I have a little piece that I want to make sure that stays down. Let's give it a good chance to stay there. There we go. Good. Awesome. So go ahead. Right here, it looks like I need some. See any other little spots? Like I said, you can distress this or you can just keep it straight. That's no big deal. I just think it's another layer of texturing and detail that I like. There we go. And let me know in the comments, what other fabrics do you think would be a good use for this, that phrase like this. I'm a very novice when it comes to fabric. I have the gal that taught me the pinking shears thing. I think I'm gonna invite her over and can you give me some sewing lessons? Because I have lots of fabric and whatnot, but it's one of those where yeah, I don't know how to read a pattern, and that's yeah. So I think I need to do a little bit of some lessons. Okay, so this one here, this is same. I got this at Dollar Tree, and this one here, I did use the pinking shears, and I went straight around so that it would, if you see on the back there, you can see a little bit of the peaks and valleys of the image there, and I just went around this a little bit more fluff, same fabric, but a little bit more fluff if you use the pinking shears. So, you know, these are kind of spendy. These are from Fiskars. I believe I got it at Joann's, you know, and it's a great way to just add another little layer of texture when you're doing craft projects. So think about that. Okay, so here's our base. We're working on our base, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to be putting that bunny right in here like that. Isn't that super fun? I love it. Okay, but we need to go ahead. I have a few things that I want to do for just making it look a little bit more natural and able to put on the front door. And what I'm going to do is so my husband, he put a buffet in my my house in Bellingham, and they had kick plates, and the kick plates it was underneath the cabinet, and he cut these off, and he was like, hey, can you use these? And I'm like, well, you know, that was about 1.5 years ago or so, and I'm like, oh, I'll see if I can, you know, I can keep them. And guess what, after that I will be able to use it. So this is going to be the base for my sign, and I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to be a little bit generous. We're going to do the same thing with the material. I'm going to go ahead and just Mod Podge it down. Make sure that you get a little bit around and that it's on the ends. So just like that. There we go. And then let me see if I can take one of the scraps that I had. Let's see what I got here. Otherwise, I have one that's exactly for it, but I want to make sure that I can use all my little scraps here. Okay, just go ahead and push it down, and then I am going to do the pinking shears. Flip it over. Do make sure it's kind of straight. You don't want your fabric to look too wonky off to the side. But if you were doing a patterned, I think that would be really cool too. But I kind of wanted this to be a little bit muted as far as kind of Little House on the Prairie-ish, where it looks a little bit vintage. So I'm just going to cut around here. There we go. So just generally cut, and then here we go. How easy is that? There we go. All right, and I'm going to push this down. Let's make sure that it sticks and stays. You would about, I would say, an hour or so that you should probably let this dry before you start doing anything with it. But you know me, I'm the McDonald's person. I want it done quick now. Okay, so here is our sign. It's ready. All right, so the little beeping that you heard earlier was my Cricut, my mini heat press. And this here, we are gonna make sure that it is on, and it'll beep at me for just a second. But there's several ways that you could do this. This is, I'm going to turn it this way so you can see it, but this is Bless This Home, and this is heat transfer vinyl. I just went to my Cricut design space and I typed in Bless This Home, and I picked the font that I wanted, and I cut it out in brown because I kind of want to keep tone on tone, that same thing. And I'm gonna, oh, there's the happy beep. I'm just gonna put this on the sign here. Let's see if I can do that. Upside down. I want it to be centered. Make sure that it's, I always do this, make sure that there's a little bit down farther. There we go. So that's what it looks like. And if I wanted to, I could put, let me get, hold on, let me get my heat. This is Teflon, and I use this when I press anything like t-shirts and things like that. It just helps it so that it puts a little bit of more of a heat transfer down there, and it keeps your image. Sometimes if you have things moving around and whatever, it just kind of locks it down in there. So I have the little mini, it's hard to see in the light, but it's actually all the way up on the highest heat press level. So I am just going to go ahead, I'm going to move this. My trivet moves. It goes up and down, side to side, because it's been used so much. I'm going to actually just directly put it on my table. And then what you're going to do is, this you do have to make sure that it stays down. So you can't really rush this one. If you, you will have to wait on this one. But I'm just going to go ahead and go across the whole project. And then I'm going to check it. This one here, because it's small, I do recommend just kind of back and forth. If this was a bigger project, like you were using your iron, I would just recommend that you would just push straight down on it. This Teflon also helps your heat guide, your instrument guide on the top of what you're pressing. But I want to make sure that it heats up enough so that the stick of stuff on the back of your heat transfer vinyl goes down into that fabric, and then it clings and stays there. So it doesn't matter what heat transfer vinyl you use, just make sure that you have the instructions, and some of them are 320 degrees, some of them they are hot peel, which means that you can just take it right after you press it and then pull it up, or it's a cold peel where you do need to wait until the image does cool down, and then you can peel it off. But what you don't want to have happen is for it to come off and then pieces of whatever you're doing is left on your transfer, or it takes the heat transfer vinyl and it stretches it, and then you get crazy letters that are not, you know, they're not what you really wanted. So then you have to try again, which it's okay. Heat transfer vinyl is one of those where it's not super hard, but there is some tips and tricks that that you want to use. And I do have a YouTube channel, Jane Nicole Designs. Hey, Christine, it's good to see you're watching. And I do actually have a tutorial on how to put heat transfer on cotton t-shirts. So if you're wondering how do you do that, and there's some tips and tricks on there. So this is what I have. I just took the mini heat press and put it on there, and see, yep, I want to make sure the middle here, it looks like there's a little spot that I didn't get all the way, so I want to make sure that it goes, you know me, the McDonald's part. I want it quick. There we go. Awesome. And then once I get this up, I usually do the heat on the image with the clear on here, and I pull it back at a 45-degree angle. There we go. And look, yep, right in the middle there. There's a little spot that is not adhered to the fabric, so I want to make sure that that stays. So I'll just heat it up, make sure. This is one of those processes, especially with something of this size, with those little letters. There we go. And this is one of those where I just kind of peel back as I go. There we go. Okay, so now this is off. This is garbage. We're gonna just leave that on. And now we're just gonna heat it up. I really want that, that glue underneath the heat transfer to stick to the fabric. And you can kind of, you know, scorch it, I guess, overheat it. The heat transfer will actually become non-sticky, and we don't want that to happen. But this is what it looks like. And so I just pat it down. And because this is a thin, these you know, these are really thin letters, just make sure that it sticks to the fabric. And how I do that, I make sure that when you look at each of the little, the letters, that it actually has the imprint of the fabric in it. So I just want to make sure that it has that fabric in there, and then I know it's gonna, that imprint, and I know it's gonna stick. There we go. So there we go. That's how I do that. So awesome. That is ready to be in our project. So, and like I said, I got this the Teflon, I think I got this on Amazon. So go ahead and check out Amazon and see if you have, I think they come in, like, some of them are 2 and 3 sheets at a time. I just bought that one in a pack that had that, and then some pillows and things like that if I'm going to be doing canvas and whatnot. So go ahead and check that out. See how it's going. Okay. All right. So we've got our foundation pieces. So here's our bunny that we used. And it's going to be our base. And then I'm actually going to put our sign right in the front there. So I want to make sure that it's got a little bit, you know, this would be like so tone on tone that it'd be really, yeah, nah. You know me, I want to spice it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is moss, and I got this at Joann's. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the moss. There we go. And I'm going to put it just right down at the bottom here. I'm going to set it on the top because I want it to have a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to take my wonderful and favorite glue gun. This is from Gorilla. I have it today on high. I'm going to try my hardest not to burn myself, but I want this project, I need this to stick well, because you see these little pieces here. I want to make sure that this all sticks. There we go. Let me get, you can also use different kinds of mosses if you like. You could use other fabrics and whatnot. You're welcome to just use your imagination, what you want to be able to have your background look like. So, and later when we start putting some stuff on here, I can go back and if there's pieces that are coming off and I want my glue gun to stick them down, go ahead and make sure that you got all what you want where you want. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to actually put the top of his ears, I'm going to anchor them on the top here because I want a little bit of 3D look here. And I'll do little, I'll show you why. But because I have this little piece of you know, the little grass here, it kind of gives me a little bit of a lift up. So I'm going to put it there, and then I'm going to go ahead and give my ears a place to rest. There we go. Do wait on this for a little bit, but there we go. I just put those on the top. Let me know if this is something that you would be doing. I would love to see if you decide to do this project. I would love to see your rendition of it. Okay, now we have the favorite part. We are going to be doing some tulips. And let me see here. Here we go. I'm going to actually cut these off because I really don't need them. I didn't do that ahead of time because I want to make sure, you know, where I'm going with this. So I didn't want to cut them off before, but you're welcome to shorten them up if you'd like. Because we're going to be putting this on the top, I need to position them in a spot where you don't want them too short. There we go. Oh, it looks like there's a wire in this one. There we go. So, and then I'm going to go off to the other side. Let's see, I do need to trim that one a little bit. There we go. So this weekend, this is Saturday, is my husband's birthday. And I know he doesn't like birthdays. I love birthdays. Mine's next Saturday, or the Saturday after. Or Friday, sorry, Friday. And we were talking about it the couple days ago, and he's like, I would love to have some friends over. I'm like, oh, okay. So this Saturday I'm going to be doing a barbecue, and hopefully the weather will turn out okay. But I cannot wait. I have a surprise for him for his birthday, and I will, after the fact, I'll tell you, because sometimes he watches, and I don't want him to find out what I'm up to. But yeah, we're gonna do a barbecue, and we'll see how that goes. And then for my birthday, I am a twin, and I have she's in Bellingham, or well, Ferndale actually, and we are gonna get together for our birthday. I'm gonna get up super early on the 25th and drive over there, and we get to have dessert. I am so excited. So I will let you know how that goes. It's gonna be a fun one. Okay, so I'm one of those. I love my birthday. I will be 51, right? Yes. But it was one of those this year. We were like, hey, actually, yeah, 51. It's a great thing. I love my age. The other day, about a month and a half ago, I was buying a can of paint, and someone came over and was like, hey, are you old enough to buy that can of paint? And I'm like, well, thank you so much. Yes, I am 50. And they're like, what? So thank you, Mom and Dad, for the great genes of looking younger and I'd say less than my age, which I love. But I have people that call, and they're like, hey, is your mommy home? And I'm like, this is the woman of the house. I know my voice is not very loud and sounds older, but it is what it is, right? Okay, so next thing I'm doing here is I'm loading up the flowers, and I'm gonna put a little bit of the greenery, the moss, just right on the top here. I want some of it to peek out. So I will be very generous with my glue gun, and let's go quickly so it doesn't totally fall there. But here we go. We're getting there. We're totally getting there. super excited. Now, make sure that where your moss and things like that is that you have enough glue. This is one of those, we can't conserve on glue on this project. We just do the best we can here. But I put 3 on each. That's more pleasing to the eye. And if you want to, you could anchor your little sign on the ring of your the ring of the oh, what do you call it? Sorry, hold on here. There we go. On your what is this called? The ring of, let me know. I forgot. Because I don't, cross stitch. There we go. I don't do cross stitch. I tried and I failed miserably at one of them. It was terrible. It was a cow and I went one over too far and one not the right way. And so my cow, I had this little thing and it was supposed to be like flat and it went like this. And so I stopped cross stitching after that. It was like, I just can't. Nope. I cannot. Okay. There we go. Let's just let this sit for a moment and we're going to let it set up because I want the glue to be able to not move. So we're just going to put this off to the side a little bit. So now I want to be able to make it look cute and pretty. So today I'm going to show you, this is an easy bow. I love being able to kind of cut corners. I do know how to do the big floral bow. But sometimes, you know, when you want something pretty simple and non-florally, this is the best way to go. So I have, let's see, 3 different, and then this right here, I had to show you this. This is my husband's, from Home Depot. When we did our deck, we had a bunch of screws that we put in there, and this is how they came. They came in these little bins, and so I'm like, absolutely so cool. Don't throw those away. I have an idea for it. And so I put all my scraps for my ribbon in it, and it works perfectly. I also have some of them that have beads in it, all that kind of stuff. So I want to be able to do some texturing and things like that. So I'm just going to get some stuff here. Let's see. That doesn't match. No. Okay. So this is a good way to use up your scraps if you have them. So I'm going to leave that there. And this is what I'm going to do. I want to take, first of all, you want to be able to get a base here. Where did that? Oh, there it is. It's always under something, right? This is floral wire. I'm just going to cut off a piece of floral wire so that I have it ready to go when I want to put this together. Okay, so this is about 1 foot long. It's probably way too long, but I always want more is better on this type of project. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take pieces of the ribbon and I'm just going to layer them on top of each other. And here I don't want it too. You get to gauge how long you want to do this. So this is a wire ribbon, so I'm just going to fold it back on itself. And then, how cool is this? You can take your little heat press and you can just push it down in this. We'll go ahead and make sure that it stays down. So there's one. And I'm going to do this upside down. It sounds, well, no, we'll try it this way. We'll see if it works. But I want to make sure that since this is my base, they don't have to be the exact same, but I want to make sure that this stays. So go ahead and get if you have a little heat press, you can use your iron if you want to. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make an X. And then we're just going to start layering on top of that, deciding as you go all different. This is like a velvet. And I got this around Christmas time at Joann's. This is from Bloom. And like I said, I got it like, I think I got it about 75% off. It was the Christmas collection from Joann's, and it came in way after the fact. You remember that? Some of the companies were not able to get shipped on time. And that was our advantage, which, sorry, but it worked out good. All right, and I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just picking out some of the colors that are in the project here. And if you need to, you can use a straightener, or you can use your little heat press and go ahead and just press down the fabric so that, or that thing, so it just lays straighter. Let me know if you've done this project before. I think this is a really, these bows are super easy, and you can use your scraps and whatnot. Like I said, I usually grab my daughter's straightener, but today, because the heat press is on, there's many ways to do this. There we go. Okay, and I think I want, yeah, let's do one right about there. And like I said, you could do rickrack, you could do all sorts of stuff. You could do jute if you wanted jute to be in there. I think that would be a great way to put a little bit of a natural texture in it. But so once you have it like that, I just go ahead and put your piece of wire all the way through here, and I'm just going to draw it up and just go back and forth, just like this. So if you want to, you can pull these out and start moving them around. And I think I do. I want this one out down on the bottom and that one on the top. So that's the cool thing about this project. You can, these type of bows, you can just move them around the way you'd like them to. Okay, so I just do a little U shape here. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull this absolutely as tight as you can. Making sure that I get my ribbon where I want it to be. And then go ahead and just pull as tight as you can, and then start twisting. Okay, now you get to start fluffing. And that's the fun part. You get to decide where you want each of these pieces. And I'm gonna trim a little bit. It looks like one is longer than I want it, or I can move it back and forth. Just like that. Oh, that one actually came through. Let me go ahead and put that back in there. And I have a pokey tool I'm going to use. There's more ways that we could do this, but this looks like the best. There we go. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. And like I said, I could move this around. We'll figure it out. I could dovetail, which you're going to pull it together, cut it at an angle, and that's the duck or dovetail. I think it's the dovetail. That's what they call it. And like I said, this one was way too long, so I want to make sure that that doesn't stay out there too far. You could leave all of them just straight. It's up to you what you like to do. Like this one here, I want this one to go that way. That one's fine. And then I'm actually just going to take this one and tie it in a bow. I do need an inside to this one. There we go. So I just tied it in a bow. There you go. So that's ready to go. All right, so now this one here, you could just glue it right down. You could take a wire and you could wire around it. And if you wanted to, you could, it just depends on what you want to do. But for this project, I'm going to actually keep this just the way it is. I'm not going to turn it into different holidays. So I'm just going to keep this one as is. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to load it up with some glue. Make sure that you don't burn yourself. This is on high heat because I want it to stay. Oh, I'll have to get that. Oh, I put it backwards. Here we go. There we go. Let's move things out. I want to make sure that you can see it. So now there is a glob right there. I'm going to wait and let that dry. Or I could do something else with it. I think this would be super fun. Okay, so we have our little bunny here. We want to make sure we can see his face. There we go. But we have that glob of glue, and I am actually going to, here we go. I'm going to make it blingy. This is just a little medallion. Oh, absolutely. I'm going to make sure that it has a little sparkle to it today. And that's one of those, you know, after the fact, we'll see what it looks like. But I just got this in one of my, like a little pack of gems and things like that. Absolutely. Here it goes. All right, I get to put a little bit more glue on it. And it just needs to sparkle a little bit. So, there you go. Yoo-hoo, okay. All right, so now I can start, if I want to, deciding if I want to take my ribbon, and like I said, I could do the dovetail. This one here, I think I like it where it's got a little slant on it. Give it a little bit of character. There we go. Okay. Let's move some things around. And like I said, this is the cool part when you can start moving things around and putting ribbon and whatnot right where you want it to go. I'm going to take that bow, cover up some of that. This is too long. I think I want it a little bit shorter. There we go. Make sure we see the little cute after effect. Okay, so here we have it. How's it going? There we go. And now I want to be able to hang it, right? So I didn't, for the purpose of, is I wanted to make sure that this was not the top, because sometimes what that does is it actually makes it go off to the side. So I did put it off a little bit. And so I'm going to take my ribbon here, and I want to be able to hang it because we flipped it inside and this part is in the inside. I want to be able to hang it from my door. So how I'm going to do this is, if I were to go like this, it would scrunch up and it would not be as easy to hang. So I'm going to cross it over the top just like that, so that when I glue this together and I put it up here, you're able to hang it just like this, so that, you know, it is kind of thick, but I have a big command hook that I want to put on there. just like that. So how I do this is I don't go all the way across with my glue gun. I only go on the corners, and I'm just gonna tap it together here. I'm gonna use a paintbrush. And I'm gonna do each of the ends. There we go. And if I want to, and I usually do, I just fold it in the middle, and then I'm gonna glue that together. And then glue it on each of the corners here. Let it set for a second. Oh, how fun. I want to be able to see that. Okay, let's make sure that it stays. There we go. Just like that. All right. So I'm going to roll that back. Put that together. I gotta hold it here. It's gonna take a few seconds to keep it together. Let's move that in. And I just want to make it smaller. I don't want this big huge ribbon to be on the back. Okay, let's trim off the ends here. Okay. So now when I put it on there, it's going to be able to hang nicer that way. Okay, so let's flip it over. There we go. Okay. Let's make sure you guys can see what I'm up to. I'm just going to put a bunch of glue. And then we're going to set it on there. See how that goes? I want to make sure that you don't want your hanger to be not straight, because then you're going to be ending up putting it on the door and it's going to like, we don't want to do that. Okay, and now I want to be able to make it stay. So I wouldn't want to, in a little bit of a wind, to be able to fall on the ground while I'm out and about. So I'm going to just put a piece of fabric on the back, and I'm going to glue it in a way that it will glue on the fabric, on the backing, and the door hanger as well. So I'm just going to put it right on the top here. And you can put it on the project, you can put it on the piece that you're looking to keep there. Let's just put it straight down. There we go. And go ahead, flip it over, and then press it down. Then you won't burn yourself. And that's me. I'm notorious for burning myself, and that's why I usually have my my glue gun on low, because inevitably I always do that. So today I'm being a little bit daring. Okay, so I hope that you guys have had a little bit of inspiration after this project is over, that you can go and find the cross stitch ring and make a project of your own. So go ahead, get the ring. This is just old fabric that I used, flowers that were laying around, being able to use your heat transfer vinyl and put that on the sign. And then you have a beautiful bunny. I got the bunny at Dollar Tree, and then just covered it with Mod Podge and put the muslin on there. And then now you have a beautiful door hanging. So thank you for coming along with me today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It is so fun to be able to have a journey with everybody of crafting and doing all sorts of different projects and things like that. I super appreciate you guys being able to do that. go ahead, and if you'd like to, I do have Jane Nicole Designs, and you can go on Facebook or Instagram. I do have an Etsy shop, janenicoledesigns.com, that some of these projects will be on there. Also, I have some t-shirts. I just launched my wedding and bride t-shirt line, and you can do sparklies, you can do a whole I have mother of the bride, I have bridegroom, I have fiance, all sorts of you know, wedding type t-shirts that you can do family pictures or wedding, bridal and whatnot. So I do special orders. So if you have a whole party that you want to put together, just let me know. Either here, you can put in, you know, one of those where how many you got for your party, and I will work with you. So, but anyway, super glad that you guys could join me today, and always Wednesdays at 10. I haven't missed one since I started, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and make comments after we're done. I have you know, I always go back and look at them. So if you have any questions where any of these products are or how I did it, you're welcome to join me in that. I also have Jane Nicole Designs VIPs that you're welcome to be able to join and ask questions as you need to. So come along with me in my journey. I will help you out with yours, and go ahead and share and like, and you have a great Wednesday afternoon, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.